If you're a fan of Younger, you're in the right place. My living room. I'm Taylor Strecker, and this is where I take you way behind the scenes of each week's episode and into the homes of Younger's cast and writers. This is your Getting Younger after show. Tonight's episode dealt a pretty devastating blow to Team Shiza. I'm over here crying. I'm holding back the tears. And there's only one person who can help me muster through this moment. Please welcome tonight's very special guest, Sutton Foster. Sutton, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Taylor. Welcome to my, this is my craft room. So welcome to my craft room.
Ooh, what kind of crafts do you make in there?
Oh, please. I'm known around the set as I'm always in the corner, like doing something, but mostly I crochet. So I crochet, but I also do like lots of other things like, collage and draw but I'm always kind of making something. Like this morning I made snowflakes with my daughter. So we were like cutting snowflakes to hang on our chandelier.
How is she? How's everybody? How's the fam?
Everybody's okay. My daughter is 3.5. We've sort of weathered the storm as best we can. It's been interesting. It's been an interesting time,
Yeah.
and there have been some wonderful silver linings and been able to spend some really nice quality time together. And my dad, actually, we're outside the city, about an hour outside of New York City, and my dad lives about 3 blocks away. So it was like first time in 20 years that I saw my dad like every single day. And I would like walk the dogs to my dad's house. We would like stand in the backyard, and there were little things like that were really special, like barbecues with my dad and just like family dinners. My daughter loves to help. I could talk about this forever, but I know we need to talk about this. But like, no, my daughter like loves to help. So like we cooked together. We made waffles this morning. Like where she's just like, I'm a good helper. She's like, I'm a helper in this family, and I'm like, like the best. So they're like little things like that. We're creating like really positive, wonderful memories. So.
Yeah, I know there are some silver linings. I went to go stay with my parents. So it was supposed to be for over the summer, 2 nights. We stayed for a month. So I regressed. I climbed back into my mom's womb, and that's where I am right now. Actually, isn't her womb gorgeous?
Well, it's amazing. Yeah, it's very nice. But it's like I know, like there are things like that I felt like it was just this great reminder, and there was like it was like this this world pause, and we all kind of went back to like what really mattered. And for me, it was family. And so
me too.
I talked to like my brother every day and like reached out. It was just like a way of like just reconnecting, which I thought was really nice.
I'm so happy to get to see you, and thank you for letting us into your home. This is like super fan style special. We're like with you at home. So thank you for letting us come in here. Okay, so let's dive into the episode. So the episode ends with what appears to be the end for Charles and Liza when he tells her basically it's over at the children's literacy event. It's going to get heavy in a moment, but before we go there, let's deal with the fun stuff. The acronyms that these writers come up with, Sutton, are just incredible. Like CLIT, I mean, only they can do this stuff. So how much are you going to miss these incredibly just witty, amazing writers?
Oh, I love this show very. It's hard to put into words. I'll try to articulate it. It's been such a gift, like this whole experience. I don't know if I will ever have an experience like this again in my career. It's very singular. 7 years with a cast that I adore. These writers, we've had basically the same writers almost every season, and everyone's like, do you ever give the writers like ideas or lines? And I was like, I don't have to. Like every script is a surprise and a delight. And I learn stuff a lot. Often I have to like look things up, but it's, I feel like it's, I will, and what's been amazing, it's such a sign of a good writer and of good writing. And also like as we've gotten to know them, they've gotten to know us. And like when when I'm like learning lines or even like preparing for the scripts, like everything just feels like everything feels organic. And like that, I think is very special. It's not like I'm like, I can't say this line. I wouldn't speak this way. It's like, actually, no, it's like they know these characters. They know me now. It's like everything just kind of flows together. But it's been, it really has been such a special thing. And I feel so lucky that we're able to end our chapter, which is, we're very lucky. We're very lucky.
I know. I think we might be crying all of these episodes, actually. I've realized, right? I'm feeling it with you. I'm feeling it. We can cry together, okay? I can't pass you a tissue, but hopefully you have some on hand.
We had our final table read. We've been doing our table reads over Zoom this season, and we had our final table read this past week, and the way that the writers, and I'm sure we'll talk about those last episodes, but they're giving us these wonderful moments in the scripts of saying goodbye or even just gratitude towards storytelling, which I think is really wonderful, because the show is about people who love stories and people who love to tell stories, and about literature and that's what the writers are as well. So there's some wonderful moments. And as we were all saying, tears are starting to fall. And then by the time we were done, we just all like looked at each other in our little boxes, and then I just sat on my couch and like cried for about 20 minutes, because it's like a real, I don't know, it's been just like a very special thing. And I will be, and we won't, this like special, the special stew of all these ingredients, of all these magical ingredients, we'll like never have this will never happen again. So there's like we're trying to savor it, every last day.
I know. God. It really is so magical. And getting to work with you guys for the last 4 years. I mean, just being even in the vicinity of this orbit, it's such an honor. It really is special. And I've done the podcast and talked to you guys and also the writers, and everybody says this, and directors, and everybody says the same thing. It's just like, this is very special.
Yeah. So. It's been a real gift.
Well, thanks to you guys, really. So I have to ask you about shooting this breakup scene with Charles. What was that like for you? Because I know you guys really, I mean, you're actors, but you guys really feel it.
I have so many opinions about this. It's also like, it's very frustrating. It's very funny. I feel very frustrated by it, because we still love each other. And so like, it's very like devastating that he has such a, like, I get it, but it's also
he's so rigid.
It's so like,
yeah.
And like, that's, and he's honest, and he's like, and I'm like, that's fair. And we're of a certain age where we're like, this is what I want. I can't compromise. And I'm like, like makes me want to scream. But, cause he says that line, if I bend anymore, I'm going to break. And
yeah.
Oh, you're right. But he's given up so much for me. It is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like left his like all of the things, and you're like, okay, yeah, okay, but it doesn't make it any easier,
Yeah, I was really mad at him, actually. For the first time ever, I was like, come on. Like when he said that line, like, I've done so much. I'm like, yeah, well, he has a ton.
I know. Yeah. And like, I think there is like, I know the Liza and Charles, they come so far, and they finally get together, and then I know. So, but it's also, where would there be? There's got to be some type of drama or tension or something. It's like, or we wouldn't have a story to tell. But it's interesting. It's like, okay, well then, now what? Like,
right. We see both sides, though, right? I mean, at first I didn't see his, but You can't not.
Yeah, and I see, and I understand Liza's side too. It's like,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh,
she said
oh yeah.
in that last scene, she's like, you know, this is how I feel now, but maybe it'll change. It's like I can remember the lines. It's so funny. She's like, this is how I feel now, but maybe it'll change. Who knows? Maybe if we both bend a little, like I'm willing. She was willing to compromise. You know, she has that scene with Fupa, the
Yes.
who says, you know, maybe you don't bend because like Fupa is so rigid and won't bend. And then she's like, maybe you don't bend. And I'm like, oh yeah. So I'm willing to like say, hey, it doesn't have to be like I'm willing to like think about it. I'm willing to leave the door ajar. And he's like, no, which just
Yeah.
makes me want to rip my face off. So it's very
Me
like
too.
having, you know, she says goodbye to the girls. It's just like it's all very
Oh, that was heartbreaking. That felt very definitive, you know, that moment.
yeah. I know. It was really
I'm
hard.
gonna start crying.
I know. It was like a really hard scene to shoot. And like Peter and I adore each other, but we've been through so much. And then and it's so funny because I'm like, I I get so mad and I'm like so like you know, upset about it. But then that day when we shot that scene, I think it was like 25 degrees outside. It was
Ugh.
the coldest day. And I was wearing like this crocheted like doily dress.
Yeah.
And so we were also like freezing and having to do this crazy, you know, this crazy scene. But yeah, I know. It's also sad.
It was powerful, but I was like really upset. I'm still really upset. That's why you're here to make us all feel better. I'm
No,
sorry.
like
That's a really big ask. No, you're doing a great job.
I wish I could make people feel better. I just know that I'm pissed about it too.
Well, good. Misery loves company, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so before we got to that heartbreaking ending, we actually had a huge blowout fight, which we don't often see. Thank you very much, Lauren, for always doing the most. She tried, emphasis on tried, to throw in a surprise engagement party for Charles and Liza. It just didn't go. It didn't go well for anybody involved. So how is it to shoot a scene with Charles Peter, when you like Charles and Liza are fighting with each other? Because sad, like what's harder, yelling or being sad?
Oh gosh. It's so funny. I know, because we're like, I mean, I know how it all ends. So it's like I can't
Yeah. I do not. I'm in the dark.
I will say that I feel like it's very satisfying. It's a very satisfying ending.
What's that mean? Okay. I won't push. This episode wasn't all Chai's a drama. We also got to see Liza dig through some wormy compost. That was fun. So we've seen some stuff go down on Younger over the years. Fatberg, Diva Cup extraction. Ugh. So how did this scene rate among the unpleasant scenes you've had to shoot over the years?
You know, what's so funny is that Don Roos, who wrote this episode, he was texting me. He's like, I hope you'll forgive me about the worms. And my response was, if it was a barrel full of snakes, I would quit.
Yeah, right.
I mean, worms are kind of snake-like, but there was a worm. It was actually kind of, I was actually really fascinated by it. I like worms. I like bugs, and I like anything like that. I'm totally cool with. Snakes are my number one fear. So I will never, ever, I just can't, they freak me out. I like to talk about them. They upset me so much because they don't have arms or legs, and they, like, how do they move? Like, I don't understand how they propel themselves forward. It's very upsetting. I was traumatized this summer by 2 snakes on a hike, and it was traumatizing. So it wasn't snakes, so I was fine. But they had a worm like handler. There was like someone there to like handle the worms, because we had like fake worms and then we had like real worms, and so there was like a worm person, and I was like really worried about, because like if you break a worm, it like breaks in half, but it can like grow back. It's crazy.
Oh, I know. I forgot about that.
Right, I know. So, but they were gonna use a hand double. to like pick up the worms, but they needed my rings, and these are like
Uh-huh.
these are my wedding rings, and this is these are my personal rings that I wear all the time on the show, and I was like, no, no, I don't take the worm. Like I was like really excited about touching the worm. I was like, oh no, I don't want anyone wearing my rings. And then I want to touch the worms. And I was like, really? But as I was dealing with the worms, I was like they had like close-ups of me like handling the worms and stuff. But the worm handler is like really close to me. And I'm like, just so afraid I'm going to hurt the worms. I don't know. It's kind of cool.
Oh, we have a guest. Speaking, Sutton, of the writers of this show, it's the writer behind this episode, Dawn Ruse. Welcome to the show.
Hi Taylor. Hi, Sutton.
Hey, Dawn.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Thanks for joining us, Dawn.
My pleasure.
Okay, I'm going to dive right into this episode. How do you approach a script, especially when like this, when you know that you have like such a bombshell ending?
Well, we knew we had to have 2 episodes to handle this decision. First of all, Liza would not sit still and just take no for an answer after episode 1. She had to keep fighting because she's very persistent, and this is the most important question of her life. So she couldn't quite believe, we felt, she wouldn't quite believe it was over. Even though he didn't return her voicemails and all of that, she just can't quite believe, knowing what they had together, that it could be over like that. So we knew we had to deal with this breakup in 2 episodes.
Sutton, I feel like you have things to say about that.
No, I mean, it's all very frustrating. It's all very frustrating. It's really super frustrating. And I felt like it felt like when we were filming it, I was just constantly like, oh, like it just felt very, I just hated it.
Dawn?
Well, that makes me feel good.
Well, just not
fighting.
I also hated it. I was angry too.
The thing with Charles is that his strength, which we usually really respond to, like he is a man of his word, and he's strong, and that is a liability in a situation like this. But the very thing we love about him is preventing him and Liza from having happiness, I think. So we writers also sort of felt, oh, I wish he could bend, but then he wouldn't really be Charles. So we had that difficult thing that hurdle to overcome. That's his character.
Yeah, it's true.
I know, it's so annoying, but it's okay.
Speaking of difficult decisions to make, when you're in the writer's room, do you guys are you on the same page about the directions of the romantic relationships or friendships, or do you guys kind of battle things out?
We're never on the same page. Now, I mean, that Josh and Charles, I joined the show in season 4, and it's always been a Josh and Charles kind of tussle in the room. Some people, and it changes from season to season, even from episode to episode. The writers go back and forth. Josh and Liza have something undeniable, and so do Liza and Charles. So it's really it's hard. There've been fights. There've been fights.
Knockdown, dragouts, physical?
No. Oh, no. Are you kidding?
Can you imagine?
We're just very short with each other,
Oh, very passive aggressive. Yeah. That's how I like to fight too. Okay, Sutton, if you've ever wanted to corner a younger writer and make them answer your burning questions, now's your chance. So you get to ask Dawn one question.
Oh gosh. Well, Don's very good because he can be a little loose-lipped, and so sometimes I've cornered him before. Because Darren is like won't tell us anything, so I'll always like corner Don and be like, so I was just wondering, like, what are you guys thinking about for like next season? And then he'll like tell me some tidbits and stuff. What would I like to know? What do you have a favorite scene or something that you've written for this show that stands out, like a favorite moment?
I love the moment in this episode, actually, where Charles and Liza are on the spot in that conference room, and you have the comedy on one hand, which is Lauren going full force on this crazy presentation she has, thinking that it will please them. And then underneath it, you have this really very heartbreaking relationship between a man and a woman who are not going to be together. So I love that. That's the whole mixture of Younger, which I love, comedy, and then really, you really care about these characters. I don't think we would still be laughing at this show if we didn't also care about what happens to Liza and Charles. So that scene in particular, I really loved.
That's cool.
Dawn, thank you so much. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for everything you do. And thank you for joining the show. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Since it's the final season of Younger, we're going to spend some time in each episode of Getting Younger to take a look back at the show and where we've been. So after tonight's blow to Team Charles, it seems appropriate to revisit this gem of a scene from season 4. Let's take a look.
Hemingway's original draft of Farewell to Arms. This was his handwritten notes.
Wow.
And that is the original Three Mountains Press edition of his first collection of short stories, published in Paris in 1924.
The movable feast years. Amazing. Well, are you thinking of buying something?
No, I'm selling.
What? All this belongs to you?
No, my parents. My dad loved Hemingway. There's actually a picture of the two of them somewhere together in Sun Valley. And I wanted to come by and take one last look.
That must be tough.
Not at all. This is history, and I'm more interested in the future.
Wait, Hemingway wrote love letters to Marlene Dietrich?
Yeah, that's the 1950s version of sexting.
I never knew they had a thing.
They didn't exactly. Hemingway once called the two of them victims of unsynchronized passion.
Ugh, I love that scene. I think you love that scene too, Sutton. Okay, so what?
I haven't watched, and I'm like, oh wow, right. And I'm like, what am I wearing? Why are my nails green? I'm like
I die for that skirt, by the way. I love that
That
skirt.
was a cool skirt.
What do you remember from shooting that scene?
Oh gosh. Because that's season 4 too. I don't know. Like, I feel like there is that thing that that chemistry thing, and like Nico and I have it, and I feel like Peter and I have it too. And it's like this thing, you're just sort of like, I don't know, you root for them. And that was the season where we were like, it was all leading up to finally kind of coming together. And so, yeah, it's just like bubbling with anticipation.
It's amazing. If you had to pick a favorite Charles and Liza scene from every single one you've done over the years, I know, what would it be?
Oh, for 2 things popped in my mind. The first one was the snow scene, the kiss in the snow, but that's just like such a great scene. But I think it's the same episode. There was this great scene that we had in the coffee area where I tell him, we talk about our kids. And I tell him that Caitlin is the reason I did what I did. And it's just like this real moment of, like I can see him beginning to thaw. He was so mad at me, and then I can see him beginning to thaw. And I say that I did all this for my daughter, and you can see it in him that he's like beginning to understand and forgive. And it was just a really, I think, important scene, and it's probably one of my favorite, because then it leads to the snowy kiss.
Oh, God, the snowy kiss, finally! That's what I was screaming from the rooftops. Oh, this is so fun, but it's making me really sad. Okay. Let's do a little fun segment. How do you feel about that?
I like
Okay.
fun things.
I'm going to do it every single episode, and we're calling it Show Us Your Stuff. So we're literally so behind the scenes that we're in your house with you, which is like the coolest thing ever. So can you share something that you have at home that's meaningful to you?
Yes, I will show you. So I'm in my this is like my office craft room. I'm going to show you. So I love to crochet. So I'm going to show you some blankets that I've made.
Yay!
So this is blanket that I made when I call it the divorce blanket. So, like my character, I have also been divorced, and I made this while I was going through my divorce because I was like psychotic and I was freaking out about what do I do. And so I made a blanket, and I picked the scratchiest, wooliest yarn I could find, but I made it in like really pretty because I'm also like Liza, I'm very sunny and optimistic. But I made this crazy blanket.
It's unbelievable. I feel like the flowers are 3D. Is that for real or an optical illusion? Oh my God.
So this is this crazy blanket that has a lot of anxiety and tears and sadness in it. And now it's in my room, and I'm afraid to like put it on me because I'm afraid it's going to like seep sadness into me. But it's like what I did to sort of cope through a really challenging time. So I made that, and I made this guy too. Oh my gosh, it's like show and tell. So I made
I
this,
love it.
which has
Son, you're so good.
it has one orange spot because nothing's perfect. So
Oh,
I know. So I'm so deep, but yeah,
you are.
this is my like crazy. I'm like I love to I always have something I'm always working on something on set, so I'm always crocheting something and or working on something. So and I make a lot of things. These I've made before Younger started, but there are a lot of stuff that I've made while I was on the set. A lot of baby blankets and stuffed animals and all sorts of things.
I love those. Thank you for sharing. That's so special. I love this segment. I mean, I know we're socially distanced, but like it kind of gives us a little extra something that we never got before. Like it's very intimate. It's very special. Sorry, I'm nerding out. I'm fangirling out right now. That's so
okay.
cool. Thank you for showing us that. That was awesome.
It keeps me grounded, like it's like something that has nothing to do with performing, It's a great tool for me for many reasons, but it's been a really positive. This stuff's a very good thing in my life.
It's awesome. It's actually bringing me calmness. I need a hobby. I need to pick something up for sure.
Hobbies are good, man. Especially now, it's like something that fills you, that doesn't require someone else to give you permission to do it, or you're not waiting for the phone to ring. Like something creative too. It's like I'm always like I have an idea. I'm like something that's like within your control. So it's like this is like literally tangible, something that you create that forms in front of your eyes. But I love to hobbies are great. I love did a lot of fun things this summer, gardening and a lot of cooking and
Sutton, you're great. I adore you. I really do. Thank you so much for being on the show. Before I let you go, I have one more question.
Okay.
What one word would you use to describe what's in store for Liza this season?
Oh my God. It's so funny. The word that I'm thinking of is like the word that the whole show is about, but it's even more so, I think, this season, which is reinvention.
Reinvention. Yeah, I'll take it. It's ambiguous, but what is going to happen? I don't want to know. I'm so excited. I can't wait, but I don't want it to come. Sutton, thank you so much for hanging out with me and doing this with me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Taylor. Thanks. And thanks to everybody who watches the show. We would never be here without you. It's just been a joy to be on this journey with everybody.
And speaking of that, thank you guys so much for watching and commenting along. I'm Taylor Strecker, and this is Getting Younger. Join me again right here after next week's episode for more behind-the-scenes stories and insights from the cast. Until then, here's a sneak peek of what's to come.
Hey, how you doing?
When I woke up, for a second, I didn't remember. And then I remembered everything. I just can't believe it's really over.
Hon, come here. I made coffee cake. Maybe you should stay home from work today.
We're already shorthanded with Diana being out. I gotta show up. And I gotta be professional.
Is that why professional people are always so miserable? Come on, I'll walk you to the L.
You don't have to do that.
No, I've got to drop off some artwork at Josh's studio anyway. Come on, let's go.